Y'all, welcome into another Podomania 5 edition of the Dunmar's podcast, the wrap-up show. It's your boys, your favorite brunch bunch, back at it again, recapping everything that was night 2 of WrestleMania and giving our takes and expectations and excitement and any other superlative you want to give as far as the first ever RAW After Mania on Netflix. Gentlemen, WrestleMania is over. Time to take a deep breath. Podomania 5's coming to an end. How we feeling after doing 4 shows in 4 days?
I'm ready for a drink.
I'm good. Hey, I can keep going. We can go tomorrow.
Let's keep the ball rolling. We'll go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're just gonna keep it going.
I got some vacation time accrued. I can slide off a day or two.
It is about that time of year for you to kick in your Lesnar contract rules, where you just randomly not show up on a couple episodes. So I'm sure
the man who doesn't miss a day.
Right.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to it.
That's what we're getting into. But first, we gotta go to the man in the middle. You heard of El Grande Americano, hailing from the Gulf of Mexico. We have joining us this evening from the 2025 version of Eyes Wide Shut. Whatever the hood version of Christian Grey is, the man in the middle has it going on.
Damn, man, why I gotta be hood?
El Grande Espiga.
Why I gotta be hood, man? I was gonna say thanks for having me on, but not anymore. Not anymore. I didn't know it was gonna be a roast. If I knew it was gonna be a roast, I might not have checked in.
Oh, come on. Now listen. You know the four of us well enough to know
that's true.
That if you're coming on, and especially if you watch the show, the comment section is gonna cook you like it was Tony Hinchcliffe after WrestleMania last.
Well done. Well done.
They will be getting there, I'm sure.
Don't be mad when the jokes start flying.
Hey, it's all love.
It's all love. Well,
it is.
We appreciate you joining us from the Gulf of the Arabian Sea, or wherever you're hailing from these days. We appreciate you coming on and kicking it with us.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Squeezes in the comments with the booking of Cena, Cody, Bischoff. I have a take on this after 24 hours and after listening and watching John Cena on Pat McAfee today, as well as Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, I could do a 3-hour episode of Paul Heyman on Pat McAfee show from earlier today, because the man, when you think his greatness cannot get greater, he quadruples it. And I can't wait to see what he says and does on Raw tonight. But let's start off with the finish. Let's go. They say send everybody home happy. We're not mincing words right now. We're jumping right into the hottest takes of hot takes. The main event, John Cena wins number 17, defeats Cody Rhodes after a year-plus long run of holding the heavyweight championship. No Rock. We got Travis Scott. Nobody else involved. Gentlemen, thoughts, feelings, opinions. Let's go. Get them out there. Who wants to?
Yo, let me jump in as the guest. Let me jump in. Straightforward. The Rock not showing up was the most disappointing part. I felt like they've been building it forever. And to have just Travis Scott walk out to me was crazy. I figured at some point the music was going to hit. At some point, somebody was going to come give Cody an assist. It just felt like it was missing something. I don't know if things got changed at the last minute. It felt like a SummerSlam. It didn't feel like WrestleMania.
So The Rock still had finally The Rock has come back to Las Vegas, t-shirts for sale. So I don't know how many of those sold since he didn't actually show up.
But he's already in the pocket, brother.
Money's in the pocket.
Somebody said he forgot the 3-hour time difference.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Grande says it didn't feel like a WrestleMania main event capper there. Donald, Chris J, what do you guys got? Who wants to go?
Jason?
To me, it was a letdown. I was fine up until Travis Scott came out. Like, if you're going to do that, don't give me the whole entrance. He could have done a run in and done bare minimum. But once you got to the run in and the tug of war for the belt, everything up to that, I was fine with. I was cool how Cena wrestled the match. I enjoyed him taking his time, doing slow paced stuff, just interacting with the fans, all that. Till you got to Travis Scott and that tug of war. I even enjoyed how it finished, how it ended, but just that little brief segment between those spots, it was just like it's a letdown.
Jay, how did you? Because this is one thing I forgot to kind of bring up or mention: the fans being more for Cena than they were for Cody. Was that something you felt like was going to happen? Inevitably?
Yeah, but I kind of hate it because it's like
Chris, what's your favorite word, Chris?
Yeah,
fickle.
And I couldn't tell if it was the appreciation for what he was about to accomplish, or if it was just, you know what, we hijacking the show, we want to do our own thing.
No, but
I love doing that too.
No, like we always say, when the faces get the belt, the faces get booed. When the heels have the belts, they get cheered. You know, it's just a chase for the face. And Cody's been champ too long. They just got tired of it.
I just feel there was never that overall, tug of war for one, like big pop for the face type feeling. Like it was just like more boos than anything.
Right.
You got a couple cheers for Cena, but it was just like it kind of like drowned out in boos.
I felt like the match overall was average at best. Like, it wasn't great, it wasn't bad, it was. And then it's like, so like when Travis Scott music hit, I was like, all right, here we go. Now this
business is about to pick up.
Yeah, this is where we get to that climactic point of the match, and it just fell flat for me. It's like, you're telling me that for Cena's 17th title run, he needed Travis Scott to help him win. Like no. like why? Like, why of all people? Like, if there would have been more interference, like if Travis Scott got his receipt from Cody, cool. If then someone else would have came out and we would have had a little bit more play, I think it would have been better. Maybe they didn't want it to be a repeat of last year's main event, so they wanted to keep it more subtle in that way. But it just, the match and the ending just made it all feel flat to me.
I enjoyed the match. I mean, I really didn't mind it at all. Yes, The Rock not being there was a big letdown. Like, if The Rock would have came out with Travis Scott and just stood at the top of the ramp, and then The Rock like sends him on his way, like, go down there and help and all that stuff, I mean, that would have looked better. But at the end of the day, I got what I wanted. Cena got the title. I didn't care how he got it. Whatever happened, he won it. That's all that mattered to me.
So, I mean, immediately, and I was guilty of this last night, tweeting out along with the show, with the main event, saying I was happy for Cena, but then they need Travis in the main event. What are we doing? The entire internet wrestling community was just up in arms. It didn't matter if you were a WWE stan, AEW stan, people shitting all over the booking decision. Dave LaGreca went on how long of a rant this morning? Just F everybody, F Cena, F everybody. Mm-hmm. Ariel Hawani's on his show today talking about he doesn't buy into Cena. It's inauthentic. When you don't give any explanation as to why you sided with The Rock and we're 2 months later, and it doesn't fit any narrative and anything else.
We just threw out the first pitch in this story. Forget the innings. We just threw out the first pitch so far. Like, there's still a lot of build.
Cena's only here for a 12-month run. You absolutely killed Cody for doing that. That's the finish that you have Cody lose the title on, and you killed Cody and all this. Like, every single thing that could possibly be said in a negative light towards that main event was said anywhere you looked. online and anywhere, any show that you tuned into today that covers pro wrestling. That's all
But
that
still
was
watch
talked about.
tonight.
Here's where my take will come in, and I feeling I'll be on the island of relevancy by myself after this take. After 24 hours and rewatching it again, I loved every single thing they did last night with it. I loved it all. I wouldn't change one thing about how any aspect of that match played down. To the ref bump, to Travis Scott, to his slow-mo entrance, to him rubbing the hardcore title like it's a Kardashian ass. I would not change a single thing about that main event last night. And the reason I say that is because John Cena said he's going to kill pro wrestling. And John Cena is not giving you folks anything. So he's not going to give you a grand entrance. He's not going to give you a video package before the match. He's not going to give you any type of holy shit moments during the match. He's going to grab a headlock and throw some axe handle slams and punches and everything else for the entire duration of the match. And then he's going to take off a turnbuckle pad because John Cena has never won cheating. So he's going to expose the turnbuckle and he's going to have interference come in. And then he's going to kick you in the balls as the big F you to everybody. This is John Cena's swan song version of killing pro wrestling. And I love everything about it.
He said he wasn't going to change anything, but he changed his entrance up.
You get nothing.
You got nothing.
I mean,
you got
you literally
nothing.
got nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, just the name. That's
Why
it.
are people not listening to what the man is saying? He for 20 years, Cena has told you what? I have been authentically myself, and I have said what has been on my mind for 20 straight years. Whether you choose to believe it or not, it's up to you, and you can make that decision. But I'm not changing who I am. I'm going to continue to tell you the truth. And he has told us the truth since Royal Rumble.
You get nothing but new merch every week.
That's not going away. I love that they had that. I don't know if you guys all watched the press conference afterwards. I thought that was great with him. Like he came out, threw Cody's side plates down. They already had his 17 side plates on the belt, and then like he was like, "All right," he goes, "I have to be a company guy. I have to take questions." And every question they asked, he goes, "That just sounds like clickbait." Yep. On to the next question.
That's a clickbait headline. That was the Marshawn Lynch. That was the wrestling version of Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here not to get fined. And then to follow up him on Pat McAfee's show earlier today, the first question Pat asked him, Cena rips into him. You want me to give you headlines? You want me to spoil TV? I'm not going to spoil TV. I'm a company man. I'm not going to ruin Raw or SmackDown or PLE to give you the headline on what I'm going to do. You're going to have to tune in tonight and watch whenever I go out there and tell everybody that I'm taking the title home with me. That lineage ends with me at 17. Nobody is going to hold that belt again. They're going to have to create a brand new belt, and whoever wins that will be the first ever champion of that belt. This one is not coming back. I'm taking it home. So I am.
So Jay's the champ then for now.
Yes. I am here for everything that they're doing with Cena. I watched as a fan and a critic last night, and then I went back today simply as a fan. And as a fan, based on everything that he has said and done since he lost the Royal Rumble, that was the perfect way for that match to go last night. And I'm sure people everywhere around will say, "Oh, look at the show, dumb marks. Look at this stooge talking about how he loves it. And if this was AEW, you would have buried it. If this was TNA or MLW or any other wrestling promotion under the sun, They'd have buried it, but because he's a WWE guy, he's just gonna praise it and everything else. No, listen to what the man says. It's not telling lies.
How does it feel on that island, Steve?
What'd you say?
How does it feel on that island? Because it's just you.
I'm here all by myself. I'm not going nowhere. I will stand, and this will be a hill that I will stand and I will make arguments for all day long.
I mean, I'm here for tonight. That's the main thing that I'm looking forward to on Raw, to see what he comes out and says, does, where the story continues. So
maybe a decent Raw After Mania.
Hopefully.
And look, everybody wanted The Rock, and we didn't get The Rock. I give you nothing. I'm not even letting The Rock show up. I give you nothing. It's like you're not getting what you want. This has been a toxic relationship for 20 years where you can say anything to me and I can't say nothing back to you. That's not healthy relationship. He said, I come back at Royal Rumble. I'm trying to win the Rumble, trying to do things the right way. And you guys just lambasted me for having a bald spot the size of Area 51 on the back of my head. And you bullied me so bad that I went and got hair transplants. And now it's starting to grow in, and I hear murmurs about my hairline now. Literally, word for word. That's what he said on Pat McAfee show today.
We'll see where it continues tonight.
You think he opens the show?
Yes.
He has been, so that's what I'm expecting.
Yes.
I mean, Steve talking, saying how he's not going to get the fans what they want.
I would put him out last.
That's, I mean, if we're going with that storyline,
just hold him off.
If we
Just
keeping
hold
it
him off.
accurate,
Literally.
don't even have him on the show. If he took the belt and went home,
I mean, if he's going to ruin pro wrestling, he's going to want to go out there first, then leave. So
yeah, this is.
Why would he want to stay for the whole show?
Catch his promo live on the internet.
You talked about throwing out the first pitch in his storyline, and I feel like we're in the bottom of the first inning, and we have however many months left, 8 months of this Cena tour. So
possibly.
Let me see where it goes. Mm-hmm. Now he's done come December.
I know that's what he says, but we'll see how the storyline escalates.
So, all right. Any thoughts? Anybody got anything else in regards to the main event from last night? Nope. All right. Let's jump then from the end of the show. Let's go into the beginning of the show. The women's triple threat match: Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. I had this picked as my match of the night going into last night. For me, this was the match of the weekend. And recency bias be damned, that's one of the best triple threat matches I've ever seen, regardless of men or women. It was 20 minutes of nonstop action. They told a great story throughout the entire time, from the opening bell, where both women tried to facepalm Io, to the very end of the match, where both women were so worried about themselves they forgot all about Io, and she lands on both of them with the moonsault, being the genius of the sky, and gets the 1-2-3 on Bianca. Thoughts, opinions? Otherwise, how'd you feel about the opening match to WrestleMania Night 2? Donald.
Great match, just like everything you explained it. The girl Io pulled it out again. Yeah, I can't ask for anything. It might be one of the greatest opening matches in WrestleMania history.
Yeah, I saw a lot of talk about that last night, saying this was, definitely in the conversation for best opener of a WrestleMania. They had Bret Owen from WrestleMania 10. Trying to think of some of the other opening matches that I saw, but yeah, that was. Nobody disliked this match, and if you did, please jump in the comments and say why, because I can't understand your logic in regards to that match in particular. So.
The right person won. I'm glad to see that Io won this match. I was very happy with that. It was the perfect way to open up the show last night. I'll agree with that. I saw Kari was backstage, hyping up Io after the win, so it was good to see her back. Hopefully we see her back on TV soon. The only thing I saw people complain about, and I know it was kind of discussed with all of us, was about EO getting out first and the lack of respect for the champion coming out first. That didn't bother me, only because WWE has been playing that for a while now, where the champ comes out first, or they just whoever. Like there's never any rhyme or reason to the entrances anymore, I feel. So that didn't bother me as much, because they end up doing the main entrance in the ring more than as they come out on the stage. But yeah, great match.
So I told my family, no matter what we're doing, we're watching WrestleMania. So made them sit there and watch it. Of course, I'll make them watch Bianca Belair matches just to gauge what they like, or just to show them something impressive. So she always puts on a good show.
Mm-hmm.
So we're watching. Of course, you get the nitpicking in the beginning. This is fake, yada yada yada. They know Bianca, they know Rhea. They're trying to figure out who Io is. Never knew who Io was, and it's like they're nitpicking, and then they're like, "Ooh," you get then they start cheering for Io, and it's like by the end, my sister's standing up, she popped. My sister-in-law's clapping, and I'm like, they like wrestling didn't gain fans last night. Io did. She stole the show, and they enjoyed every minute of it.
I could see that
for sure. And that's to piggyback off of that. That's kind of where I always come from when I watch, because I'm more of a casual fan than you boys. So when I watch, I don't ask for much. Entertain me, make the story make sense. Let me see something that I don't see every day. I like the grand spectacle. I think the first match had all of that and more. I've never followed Io's career, so I didn't know much about her. But the same way Jay said, like Io, I'm a fan now. Like I always like Bianca, always like Rhea. But I also I kind of like Bianca with an attitude. Like I was a fan of her. I didn't know if the fans gave her the Charlotte Flair treatment, booing her because they liked Rhea and Io, or they just wanted to give her the Charlotte Flair treatment. But I think the fans being hot for it as well really made the match. It should have actually, in my opinion, led Mania in general. Because to me, Jay and Gunther, I don't know if it was Jay's entrance being kind of subpar, but they just didn't seem into it like they were. They were into it last night, and that made the match even better, for sure.
Ty El Grande Ty.
Hey, what's up, Ty?
Taquan, you got to submit your application early to get in. So I've been in reconnection hell trying to get back onto the stream. So I'm assuming everybody went through and gave their thoughts and opinions as far as the women's triple threat match, right?
Yeah, you up last, man.
I already said this was
you want to say anything else?
I will say, and then I'm gonna say this comment and then throw it out there to you guys as far as free for all for the rest of the card itself. Before we talk a little bit about tonight's Raw on Netflix for the Raw After Mania. Night 2, start to finish, way better than night 1.
Yes.
The women's match set the tone for the rest of the performers in the back to say, okay, we gotta bring our shit, because they absolutely tore the house down. And when you have an opening match that does that, the energy, everybody backstage, whoever's up next, like, you get extra juice, and that adrenaline starts pumping even more than it being just WrestleMania.
Right.
And that vibe carried throughout the entire show for me in that regard. So if I'm grading WrestleMania as a whole from night 1 and night 2, I would give it I would say a C plus B. So I go 7.5 out of 10 if we're grading on that scale. But night 2 for me was definitely way more enjoyable, way better of a night start to finish than night 1.
So
Yeah, I
Was
agree with
there-
that.
Now, I know we talked about Cena and Cody and the finish there. Io, let's get to the man of the hour. The man of the hour last night, some would argue it was Joe Hendry. Although I have a conversation, I have a question about Joe Hendry, which I'm going to throw out there to you guys after this. But the man of the hour last night, the man who made the Intercontinental title relevant, even though he only held it for 14 minutes after.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay. That's what he told Sam Roberts. He said, I made this belt. I made this belt relevant. And Sam was like, you held it for 13 minutes. And Dom was like, 14. Check your watch. Dominic Mysterio wins the IC title last night. That place popped. Outside of Joe Hendry, that may have been the biggest pop of the night. Was seeing Dirty Dom get his Intercontinental title win, pinning his fellow Judgment Day member Finn Balor. I feel like that's one of the matches that automatically storyline-wise rolls right on over into tonight's Mania. So, Donald, you're top 3, and he ain't 2 or 3. You're number 1.
Yep, he's number 1 now.
Dirty
number
Dom.
1. I liked everything about the match, everything he did. Like I said yesterday, he did all of his time, just playing like the side person this whole past year, and finally get a run with the title. And like I said before, he's going to take the IC title to greater heights, and he's going to get that world title shot next year at Mania. He's going to cash it in like the X Division title.
Cena said that Dominic will be the most famous Mysterio when it's all said and done in pro wrestling. He said he is that good.
Okay.
Just saying, the GOAT says this is the guy. I'm going to listen to the GOAT. Cena's telling truths. I'm going to listen to the GOAT.
Okay.
No, so we know Chris hated on the match then. No, anything Mysterio, you just automatically shit. You've hated his father for 30 plus years. You might as well just continue with his son.
You know me, and I'm not a Dom fan, but that was absolutely the right call. I said that yesterday. That was, if you were going to put the title on him, that was absolutely the time to do it.
Oh, now you want to have journalistic integrity. Any other time, you don't say this about Moxley. You don't say this about Baron Corbin, Bishop Dyer. But now, all of a sudden, Dominic Mysterio. Oh, it's the right call. It was the right call.
No, I'm not even entertaining this conversation. I'm going to put in Baron Corbin in this conversation.
I'm just saying.
El Grande, what'd you think of the match?
If we're gonna keep on, our journalistic integrity, we got to.
I might be the one that's out on the island on this one with you, Chris. It was okay. Like I'm not a Dom fan. I like the character. I think he does a good job. Making the crowd hate him. I was confused last night why the crowd loved him. So maybe you boys can shed some light on that.
There we go. That's right, Zach Corn.
Like I am more the casual fan. I was confused.
To go back to Chris's favorite word in pro wrestling, fickle. The fans are fickle. That's an instance of a WrestleMania crowd, not a typical crowd, right? Mm-hmm. Like
they were just in the moment.
Yeah, you're in the moment, and when you're in the moment, Dom has put in the work. Should he have been cheered the way he was last night? No. Is he going to get cheered tonight? I honestly don't know what the reaction is going to be.
Right. Yeah, like if you would have told me beginning of the night that Dom would have had the biggest pop, I would have been like, you're crazy. There's no way. So that's the surprise element of it for me. It was just confusing. Plus, being a Penta fan, I knew Penta wasn't going to win that early, but the match was okay. I don't have anything wrong with the match. Again, not a Dom fan, so him winning, I was a little irritated, but it is what it is.
I'll buy you your shirt.
I think that's the first time that we had a unanimous selection where on the prediction show 5 for 5, everybody said Dominic Mysterio, and it actually happened. That normally wrestling math will tell you he wasn't the guy that was going to win. But like to Chris's point, it was the right call there. Jay?
So my sister-in-law was like, "Who's this dude that looks like Eddie Guerrero?"
Eddie Guerrero's
Son.
son.
His biological
Yes,
son.
like, who's
Eddie's son.
like Eddie Guerrero. So I had to take her down history. She's like, I'm that old.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kid. I'm that old. Yeah. So to me, I think the pop was because Dom, the person. Like, they know Dom, the character. You're playing the guy. He's playing the guy you hate, but off screen, the dude's he's such a likable guy. I think he's getting pop just for that.
You know Dom personally? You guys hang
No,
out
but you
on
see
the
him in
weekends?
the
Like, what are
interviews.
we talking about here? What are we doing?
They're chicken nugget friends over there.
That's
You
right.
see him
I
in the-
forgot. They go to the annual Chicken Tenders of America competition each year to judge the greatest chicken tenders across all 50 states.
And the best
We've already-
ranch.
We've already said Dom is gold on social media. So
Look, Dom is gold, period. You know, is Dom a future world heavyweight champion? I don't know.
Yes.
If Jay can get it, why not?
And there you go.
Whoa. Not doing that. Not doing that. Not disrespecting.
Well, Dom got a Hall of Fame
event.
father to complain on, Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, he gonna get a shot.
So I had brought up in our chat yesterday, and I want to bring it up now. A couple months ago, I think it might have been like SummerSlam, I said that I felt like the story with the Judgment Day is that Liv and Finn are together, and not necessarily Liv and Dom. And the only reason why I hadn't thought that it was going to play off that way was because of how much the crowd actually loves to hate Dom.
He's the only man that gets to shine with the side piece, Squeeze. The only man. You can't be out in public with the side piece, and he gets to do that every single week.
So I'm looking forward to tonight, seeing how the crowd reacts and moving forward to see if that might play out at some point. That's
Where
still
they
the
at
story
tonight,
to me.
location wise?
They're still in
Vegas.
Vegas.
Oh yeah, the T-Mobile.
Yep,
Yeah.
they're there
Okay.
through tomorrow.
So the only thing I say to that, Chris, is we don't know how this Mania crowd is going to be because a lot of the pricing from an international flavor that makes the RAW After Mania, the RAW After Mania. Like, I always take the crowds with a grain of salt when it comes to the RAW After Mania, as far as like who they cheer and who they boo. Unless it's like Roman coming out there after beating Undertaker, where they just booed him for 7 straight minutes, and then he said it's my yard and walked out. Like, that was legitimate hate on Roman at the time for everything that they were doing with him. But I just like, he can go out there and get cheered tonight, but I don't see him being a babyface going forward. Like,
this
although
is where Finn turns heel, so you can play into that. You'll get
Finn turns heel.
Well, Finn is
Finn
the
heel
heel,
already?
but
Supposed to be. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if the fans, like, while they're cheering him at the moment, can they show sympathy for him at the same time?
now your potential story beat out there that you made reference to that you brought up several months ago, that does question for me come into play based off of the women's tag team title match with Liv and Raquel losing to Lyra and Becky. And for all the creative decisions that I loved about the main event from start to finish and wouldn't change anything, I hate everything about that match. I hate the way they booked Becky's return. I hate the fact that Bayley had to get out and sit on the sidelines. I hate the fact that Liv and Raquel had to drop the belts to Lyra and Becky. I hate the fact that Lyra is a 2-time Lyra 2 belts. I hate every single thing about that match.
and the match was bad.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the match.
And I thought we talked about, best for business and the Rollins Heyman alignment, and will that, let's get a Becky turn on Lyra and they can feud for the belt and everything else. Becky came out and on the back of her jacket, did you notice what was on the back of her jacket?
Back in business, right?
Yeah.
I thought it said best for business.
No, back in business.
Oh, okay.
Oh, see, okay. All right. That makes a little more sense because I thought it said best for business. And I'm like, I know that's not a coincidence that her jacket says best for business. And then they booked that? Like, are you kidding me? So okay, back in business. All right, well then forget
Makes more
about
sense
that,
for you.
because that changes everything in my mind there with that in those regards. So yeah, I was not a fan of the Becky return, and I know Triple H got asked the question, and he said, "Don't worry about Bayley; she's a true professional."
Yeah, they'll definitely.
That's a shitty answer. That was his response.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I think the only reason that they gave her the title is so her and Lyra could start something, so she could have that IC title checked off in her
But what
resume.
does that? I mean, what does that do? Legitimately, what does that do? Like you create a feud between them two to go after the IC title, and that not that the tag team titles meant anything, but you want to talk about just completely burying championships. You're burying championships. Like the tag team titles mean nothing if they go that route with the storyline.
It's like Lyra just showed up on the main roster. Like she's got plenty of time to be a tag team champion at some point. There's going to get to a point where creative has nothing for her, and they could throw her into that.
That was the most reaction she's gotten out of a crowd, I don't know, since her call up. Like they were doing the woo and the woo, like they were behind Lyra, and I'm like, who is piping in that noise? Because that reaction ain't been heard in weeks.
Now y'all boys follow the socials and the rumor mill and everything. Did everybody know Becky was coming back? Casual fan, non-casual fan.
Yeah, it was the worst kept secret. Especially on Friday when news broke that Bayley was getting pulled with the injury angle that they ran. Everybody knew that Becky was going to be slotted in that spot.
Now, how long do we feel like Bayley knew everything that was going on? Because y'all talk about her being a professional, but at the same time, it's got to be a little sour the fact that you're not at Mania. Do we think she's known for a while?
From the rumor and innuendo, the tea leaves that were out there, Bayley found out on the weekend like everybody else did.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's kind of shitty.
Yeah, like I said,
just to slot her in and make her win the title, man. That's a HPI move.
WrestleMania was on a high for me the whole way through, even the Logan Paul and AJ Styles until Becky's music hit, and I just had that bitter Bayley taste in my mouth.
Now, 3 years ago, when Becky was at her hottest, when we have all felt this way.
No, I had the same reaction when her music came out against Bianca at SummerSlam, and she beat her in a minute.
Yeah, the same thing.
Same thing.
Chris is quiet, so I don't know if Chris agrees or if that's because I know that's his girl.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I like Becky. I like Bayley. I just feel it was disrespectful to Bayley to take her off. She earned that position to me more than Becky. They've been advertising Becky since the Raw debut on Netflix in January. Mm-hmm. So then they advertised her for Rumble. Then they advertised her for WrestleMania. So and Steve brought up, back at Royal Rumble that Becky was waiting for better creative to return and not, just come back to come back.
I felt like she just came back to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the goal was to have her come back to get a huge pop and put a title on her right away, you could have saved it for Raw tonight.
Yeah,
have her come back and challenge Lyra in an open challenge match for the title. Like you could have did it without taking. Yeah, you could have did it without diminishing the tag team titles and diminishing Liv and Raquel. Especially Liv. You want to talk about Bayley doesn't deserve it. Liv don't deserve that either after all the work she's put in.
True.
And taking the pin. You hurt two women that have been there that have been really strong over the past year and a half while Becky's been out, and you have Becky take out both of them. Not that Becky was like, hey, this is the creative I want. I'm sure she's just being a good soldier, and that phrase will come up later on before we talk about Raw. But I don't know how much sway or what input Becky had, but if they tell her, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what you're doing, I mean, she can only go so far with saying no, right? Like
Donald said it best. That sounds very HPI.
Somebody said it's cool when she do it, but it's a problem when Charlotte do it.
Nobody said that here. This is Look,
No,
in this
it's
situation,
very.
the only difference between Charlotte and Becky is that the fans love Becky. That's the only difference.
No, Charlotte never held out.
No,
He never
what
held
I'm
out
saying-
for negotiations.
Yeah.
And Charlotte's already.
It's very.
No, Jay, you're missing what I'm saying.
Huh?
Becky's just coming back and getting the title right away. The only reason why people weren't shitting on it is because the fans love Becky. They don't love Charlotte. So when Charlotte comes back and she immediately wins the Rumble and gets the title shot, people hate it because that's what Charlotte does. And Charlotte politics for that, according to what everybody says and feels.
No, Charlotte doesn't politic for that. Charlotte has an end game. Her end game is 17.
Well,
That's in her story.
Vince gave her 14 before he walked away. Like she
That's
didn't
in
do
her-
nothing
that's
to
in
earn
her
those
story.
14.
Her story is to pass Rick.
Well, now she's gonna have to pass Cena because Cena holds the most. So it's not, hey, will you pass your father? It's will you pass John Cena? The
So
GOAT.
she already has a book-end storyline. Not, oh, hey, I want a title. I want
But
a
look
title
at the way
and another
she's gotten
title. It's
to
in
her number.
storyline.
Look at the way she's gotten to her number. They were just giving her titles to boost that number.
You gotta
like
get
Goldberg's
there.
wins.
She's not wrestling until Rick, as long as Rick wrestles.
But that you're missing what I'm saying. That's why the crowd don't like Charlotte. That's why she gets a negative reaction to all this.
So, I mean, at the end of the day now, the four horsewomen, do they just say, fuck it? They're not supporting each other? Because to
What do you
me,
mean? Mercedes is
supporter
is
Nate.
on
I
Bayley's
mean
show
in
like
WWE,
Hotline
in WWE world. It's like, if it was really about all of them being together, why would Becky do that to Bayley?
But I'm not saying that I know Becky did it to Bayley or not, but the relationship between Becky and Charlotte has been gone. They both come out and said that was not just a work. That's a shoot. They don't like each other. They went from best of friends right up and down the road and not speaking to each other.
That was real world.
Yeah.
So now they turn into each other.
That next thing they're gonna come together and win the NXT tag team titles. I don't know. Like it's
It's gonna be like Stone. It's gonna be like Stone Cold and Triple H.
Yeah.
We hate each other, but hey.
Speaking of Stone Cold, he I don't know if he had one too many Steve Weisers in the back, but my man he missed the ramp to get up there. Yeah. He crashed into the barricade.
There's a new owner at TKO today.
Some fan took the biggest bump of WrestleMania weekend. Like that bump was bigger than Priest going through both tables doing the Undertaker walk.
But she was up for the main event.
They said Nick Cole went over and be like, "Yeah, my name is Tony." Tony Cole.
I saw that. That was good.
You brought up Logan Paul and AJ Styles. The result, I absolutely hate.
I saw what I said in the group text.
But does anybody else have anything else about Mania Night 2? Because I'm going to use this to preference into our discussion about tonight and expectations and whatnot.
We're going to talk about I Believe, or
we can do Joe Hendry first.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Yeah.
So I don't understand the internet wrestling community.
You don't?
No, I don't, because the TNA World Heavyweight Champion was on WrestleMania in a primetime slot against arguably top 5 wrestler of a generation. And somehow TNA is buried and Joe Hendry looks like a bum, and WWE just, is little brothering TNA and everything. Like, what are we talking about here?
That was hate just to hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was your TNA logo was all over everything last night on WrestleMania. One, you've never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
So that just their logo being on WrestleMania and all over the screen and in the arena is worth it for TNA.
Yeah, the Rumble's one
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Right? The Rumble's one thing, but to do it on the grandest stage of them all.
And to have your champ out there.
Yeah.
I even thought Randy doing his little thing was putting him over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, how's that burying him?
Absolutely.
I mean, to me, that match was not so much, just to fill for the match, but Triple H hyped up Hendry. Just like, to me, that was okay. We want to see the crowd reaction, and Randy's going to give his stamp of approval if you can go in the ring.
And I'm right there with you boys. Like, me and Kristen are watching it. And she's like, "Oh, who's this dude?" Like, I don't know about. And she's online immediately. Google. I'm filling her in on his story. Like, it's like, yo, he's the promotion. Then her question was, well, how much is he getting paid for this? Because he just came in, basically got his ass beat, and went home. But I said, I feel like it's one of those things where you really don't care. You get an exposure that you could never dream of, especially a year ago.
Yes,
priceless.
So, you know what I mean? He might not be getting paid. They might have just told him to show up, like the Super Bowl halftime show.
You get paid.
This one's on you.
You got to pay yourself.
Right, exactly. And you got to pay your own way.
He's getting paid, and they put out merch. So,
yes.
Yeah. Now, and he also had arguably the biggest pop of the night. A TNA wrestler got the loudest reaction on WrestleMania. So,
yeah, like you said, the merch
to me, he filled that celebrity spot that they were missing this year.
He wasn't a celebrity.
I know, but it felt like that only because of the reaction, the fact that some people didn't know him, in terms of he wasn't a regular everyday WWE wrestler. There was a little comedic value, you know what I mean, with the RKOs and him doing Joe Hendry's little thing. It didn't seem like a moment that was taken seriously. It was kind of that comedic relief moment. So that's what made me talk about the celebrity aspect.
Yeah, Squeeze, you definitely called it. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I would have thought of it. I should have, kept the comments hidden there and just used it as my own. Much like Jason does with all of his wrestling games we do each week. But
Steve wants a pat on the back from the IWC that he was just hating on.
No, I don't ever chase the hug. Okay, I'm not chasing no hugs. Let's get that real. I come on here, I pat myself on the back because whenever I say I'm right, I'm right. That's what normally happens on this show. But
like John Cena, listen to me.
Listen to me. I'm telling the truth.
Don't give him shit, Donald.
They had
Don't feed him lines.
Don't gas him up, man. Don't gas him up.
Look, they had an impossible situation happen. They went as long as they could with Kevin Owens in the hopes that his neck injury wasn't as serious as it was, and they could have done something and actually had the match at Mania. Obviously, they couldn't. Pivots were made, changes were made. Kudos to Hunter and gang for going outside the box.
For sure.
But the one guy that I'm most excited for tonight, and I don't know if we'll see him tonight, may have to wait till Friday, but he went on and gave a little promo himself talking about the fans' reaction, wanting to see him challenge Randy Orton in that spot, and was ignored. Killer Cross, formerly known as Karrion Kross. If you have not seen the promo, it's 3 minutes long with Sam Roberts and I forget Mackenzie Mitchell. I think that's who he does the show with. But Killer Kross gave arguably the greatest work shoot promo I think I've ever seen. I don't know if what he said is like real shoot and he's done and out of the company based on
this morning.
He said. I don't know if it was this morning or if it was last night and they aired it today.
Okay.
But if it is a work shoot promo, that man right there, you want to talk about, brand new season and new people being pushed in different directions and people going up the ladder, some people coming down the ladder, creative, reset the whole 9 yards. If they're going to let this Killer Kross run, and I keep saying Killer Cross because that's the guy that I want to see. That's the guy that I've been a fan of way before he was in TNA, Lucha Underground, etc. They let this guy go. It's going to be primetime must-see, can't miss TV. And I know Chris is going to hate that because he's not a fan, but I'm telling you now.
The thing that I meant to look it up today and I didn't have the time. A couple weeks ago, he tweeted out something or posted on social media like of a date, and I think that date's this week or next week. And I'm wondering, people were questioning, is that the end of his contract or what was going on with it? So I'm just wondering where that's going to play in the next week or so to see if it's part of a story or not.
He changed his Twitter handle to his real name, Kevin. I forget it, but his real name, and then he changed his @ to @Killer Cross. So like, my man is going all in right now, and like I said, if they're letting him go and do this. Because he used what happened with Logan Paul coming in and taking a spot, with the fans' reaction to him getting eliminated, wanting him to be the one to challenge Randy, to coming out there and not being booked on the show in his hometown, and for AJ Styles, and he kept calling him Allen. Didn't call him AJ, called him Allen. For Allen to not do the right thing and be selfish and just worry about himself doing it his way instead of doing the right thing and laying out Logan Paul. Like, it was fantastic. Like, that is the most excitement that I've had after seeing a promo in a really long time. It maximized every single minute that he gave. And like I said, if this is how they're going to present him and have him go, you want to talk about a first inning home run, like first pitch home run? He absolutely smashed it out of the park.
See where this goes. They got to do something with him. Like, I just feel like they haven't got their money's worth since he's returned.
But he has. He's predicted everything that's happened with every single wrestler.
He's going what, through 3 different versions since he's been back?
Go back to when he first came back after they rehired him. He stood in front of Roman and the Bloodline, and what'd they do? Scarlett walked up, set the hourglass on the ring, and flipped it over. Time's running out on the Bloodline. Bloodline's no more. Roman's by himself. Go back to Nakamura. Nakamura changed. Every single wrestler that he's been involved with, The Miz, every single wrestler that he's been involved with, regardless of how much has been on screen versus backstage, it doesn't matter. Every single one that he's touched and had his fingerprints on, they have literally all changed themselves based off of what he said and done. Now, if you're not following Karrion Kross like that, or Killer Kross, or paying that much attention to it, you're not picking up on those story beats and following along. And you could say, well, I'm just jumping to conclusions on my jump to conclusion, Matt, and I'm already, tying in something that happened almost 3 years ago. But literally been playing out that way for every single person that he's been involved with. And this AJ situation was just the breaking point where it's like, all right, screw you guys. I was a good soldier. Bill Goldberg told me to be a good soldier. A good soldier got my time cut. Good soldier didn't get me booked on Mania. Good soldier this, good soldier that. No, I'm done. You want to leak my contract details? Fuck you.
We'll find out.
So that is that's the individual that I'm most excited for, whether we get it tonight on Raw or we have to wait till Friday for SmackDown, because I'm not exactly 100% sure which roster he's on at this point, because I don't know who's on what roster at this point.
Because it doesn't matter.
WrestleMania,
I literally don't know. So
either way, 2 weeks they'll announce the draft, and then it'll matter again for 3 weeks.
But either way, that's what I'm most looking forward to, based off of the fallout from Mania and stuff that was said and done by individuals in those regards. So, what about you guys? What are you expecting for the first Raw After Mania on Netflix? Are we getting edgier content? How we reset? What are you looking forward to? Do you need any surprise returns? Do we see anybody tonight from a surprise return aspect?
I don't need no surprise returns. I just need him to keep adding to the stories that were told at Mania. So Cena, Seth, Heyman, Io going forward. Hey, what's going on with Bianca? Just keep compiling the stories.
Steve, I know you usually. I got the gist that you usually ask the hard hitting questions, but that fact what Donald just brought up, it just made me think. Do y'all boys like the aspect of Mania being the conclusion of stories and the start of stories, or do you like it being one versus the other? Because I feel like when we were a little younger, growing, you know what I mean, it was more of that was the end of a season, and that was the end of stories. It seems like now it's a little bit more of both, where it's the end and the start, just kind of depending on the situation. So I guess what I'm more looking forward to is, like Donald said, kind of where the stories go and trying to figure out, is it going to be the beginning of a lot of stories? Is it going to be the end of a lot of stories, or a lot of stories going to continue? Because it seems like a lot of the stories are still continuing. There's no WrestleMania wasn't the beginning or end for a lot of them.
Yeah, they always say it's the shortest off season out of any sport, right? Triple H said it like the off season lasts about 5 minutes, and then they're on to the Raw afterwards.
Right.
I don't need a continuation of everything on Mania. If you're going to use Mania as a springboard to kick something off to run through, the quote unquote summer of Punk or summer of Cena, right? Like where you get that story. Punk and Drew last year, Mania kind of kicked that off for them, even though Punk was hurt. I'm okay with it with certain individuals and aspects. Some things you definitely need a conclusion on, and those are like your bigger world title championship type stories and matches, right? Like Cena and Cody, I don't need a rematch from Cena and Cody at Backlash. Like I don't need it. Like let Cody go away, let Cena start this run, and wherever it's gonna go. Jay and Gunther, I don't need a rematch from Jay and Gunther. But I could see them running it back at Backlash just because. The IC title, I think you automatically jump into Finn and Dom. Like that's a kicking off point, in my opinion, based on what they've done previously with Judgment Day leading up to Mania, and then Dom, as Chris said, pinning Finn. Where does that leave Finn? Where does that leave Dom? Where does that leave Liv, Carlito, the whole Judgment Day? Like that to me is the starting off point to the next chapter in that Judgment Day saga. So like,
what about Fatu and LA Knight? You like them continuing on?
No, they're done.
Okay.
Let Jacob. This should be the springboard to Jacob and Solo, and run that through, right? But you'll have some new people come back, which will automatically kickstart, new people or returns coming back, which will kickstart new storylines and feuds. You say Io, Donald, Kyrie Sane is healthy. Let Io and Kyrie have a feud.
I would love that.
Let them go at it and have them
You and me
deliver
both,
something.
man.
Yes.
I'm definitely expecting, because you're getting the rumored Aleister Black return on SmackDown this week, so I'm expecting something on Raw tonight. I don't need a ton of that. Just give me one thing unexpected, and it's a variety show. You're gonna get the Cena, you're gonna get the Io Sky, whatever she ends up doing. You're gonna get the Judgment Day stuff. So,
and I think a lot of those like debuts or re-debuts for people that may have left the company and re-signed, I don't think a lot of that can be done nowadays just because of AEW being the other promotion out there and being a viable second product to work for, right? So like a lot of talent, if they weren't in WWE for WrestleMania season, but they were being brought back to debut after Mania again, you really wouldn't be tied into a contract anywhere else because there was only one game in town. But now you have some other viable promotions that are legit contenders as far as signing people. So maybe we see Jeff Cobb because he's coming in, so that could be a brand new.
Did he do his last match?
Yes, he did his last month.
Okay.
He did
I
his
couldn't
last
remember.
match. I believe that wrapped up Thursday. I think it was the 19th. So yeah, maybe you get him. Rusev was supposed to be hot track back. I don't know if you'll get him tonight or not. They may put that like on the slow burner in that, but
Any
give me
Oscar sightings?
no Oscar
They just started
sightings.
with a knee
Oh,
brace
good,
on.
yeah.
That was it.
That's another one that's like out there that I wouldn't mind seeing
Yeah.
pop up.
I don't know if you knew that, her personal life, that some stuff was going down. So I don't know if, all that's cleared up, for her to return or what.
Yeah,
Plus, the
I
most
think
recent picture I saw of her, she had that huge knee brace on still.
Okay.
yeah. I mean, if I'm putting a Mount Rushmore of interest for people coming out of Mania, I would go Karrion Kross, Killer Cross. I would go Heyman. I would go Seth. And then, see, I can't even do Mount Rushmore because I got 5 people. So I would do, we switch it, top 5. I would do Cena and Bailey. Like, to me, those are the 5 people that I'm the most interested in coming out of Mania to see what happens.
Yeah.
And you guys, anybody else that I didn't mention that tickles your fancy as far as interest for Raw and SmackDown this week?
I want to see where things go with Randy now. With Backlash being in St. Louis, you would think he's going to be on the card, but with no potential story at the moment, I'm kind of interested in seeing where they go with him next. And
do we have a situation where, I know Cena's last run here, at some point you would think him and Orton would have to tangle for one last time, given that that's arguably the biggest rival for both of them.
Greatest match ever.
I mean, you got Roman and CM Punk out there now. Like, there's
Roman got all kind of options.
There's way more interest as far as Cena and who's going to challenge him than I feel Jay. But that don't mean that they can't cook something up that gets me excited for Jay.
Yeah.
But I definitely see him and Gunther running it back one more time at Backlash.
At the end, it's still the Raw After Mania, so I'm just excited for it to see what happens.
And who knows? Maybe The Rock will show up tonight. And finally The Rock has come back to Las Vegas shirts will actually jump off the shelves because they look like nobody bought them.
Maybe he shows up on NXT again tomorrow and takes up time.
Yeah, that's god awful.
He'll be Dwayne.
So
it won't be Final Boss. It'll be Dwayne.
I mean, are you expecting any NXT call-ups between tonight and Friday?
Only person I can see is Roxanne. Trick, I don't care.
How that match ended, though.
What'd you say, Jay?
I hate how that match ended, though. Like, it's like you're going to run another story between her and Cora.
They both can move up.
They both look good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at far as like new additions, I think now moving forward, that's where you'll see like NXT talent come up. But much like under the old regime, if you're bringing up talent from NXT, you got to have something in place.
Yes.
I want to see Fraxim in New Day.
Fraxon would be an interesting call.
Yeah.
There's not much else they could do down there.
Would definitely inject a little bit of life into the tag division on the main roster.
Definitely.
You'd have to throw him on the Raw side of things, though, because SmackDown, I feel, is starting to become tag team heavy, which is fine. I'm not opposed to that because I love tag team wrestling. But to make both sets of titles feel relevant, you got to add some teams on the Raw side of things. So that's not a bad choice to have New Day come out and running their yapping their mouth, and you hear Fraxium come out. Frazier was on a couple weeks ago against Phoenix, and Phoenix's debut on SmackDown. So
yeah, and Axiom was on against who? Gunther. over in
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah.
So,
You actually get New Day in a segment rather than a commercial break now they're tag team champions.
Yeah. Yeah. That may be the loudest chorus of boos when they come out tonight, if they come out tonight.
They've replaced Dom. They've replaced Dom.
Now watch,
We'll find out.
just to piss Chris off, they're gonna shoot a backstage vignette with them and not even put them out on TV tonight. So,
I'll be using the VPN, so I'll see it.
yeah, I won't. That was one thing. Cena or SummerSlam, Cena drops it. I don't know when Cena drops it. I don't know who. I mean, Orton's a good choice. If Punk is getting a title run at some point, I would say you'd have to have Punk beat Cena.
Sooner than later.
yeah.
I thought we would have gotten Orton and Cody, and we didn't get an Orton Cody face off while Cody was champ. So a lot of intrigue. The NFL draft is coming up this week, so new players coming in the teams. Everybody gets a reset. Everybody feels good about their squad. Everybody has Super Bowl aspirations. I feel like tonight and Friday night is the same thing as far as WWE goes. Everybody resets, new goals and aspirations, and everybody's starting to begin that fight to get to Mania 42 next year.
Already.
Yep.
Already.
Hey, just pull a Rock and Cena. Hey, I'm the main event next year.
Don't
day
after.
after.
No year-long title reigns this year. No,
To be determined.
Well, if you do that, there better be a good story behind it.
Anybody got anything else as far as quick hits, last minute thoughts, issues, concerns, gripes?
Nah.
I'm good.
Nothing from nobody?
Yeah, what a women's division.
It ain't wrestling related, but I gotta throw a moment of silence. What's that DIY does? A moment of silence. Let me do the moment of silence for Rudy Subs in Monroeville. Heard they ain't there no more. heard they went by the wayside.
Listen, there's only one true Rudy's, okay? It wasn't the one in Braddock Hills.
That's why I said Monroeville. I know.
It wasn't the one in Monroeville. It's not the one in Plum.
Wasn't Holiday Park. Wasn't Braddock.
Yeah, no. It's in 15218 on Monongahela Avenue in Swissvale.
No.
It's the only Rudy's that matters.
Rudy Martino's House of Subs. That's where it's at.
OG. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the veil, throw it up. Swissvale's finest. Everyone else is unacceptable. Thanks for tuning in to day 4 of Podomania 5, the WrestleMania Night 2 wrap-up show. We appreciate you guys rocking and rolling with us over the last 4 days. As always, hit us up on social media at DumbMarksPod. Email the show at dumbmarkspod@gmail.com. Head on over to prowrestlingtees.com/dumbmarkspod. Pick up some merch. We'll give you guys a live shout out on air. Whoo, we made it, fellas. Next year, we'll be back doing it all over again for Podomania 6. But until next Saturday, well, this coming Saturday, because all the days run together, it's this week, not next week. I'm a Mark, you're a Mark, tell a Mark. And until then, y'all can catch us around the way.